Hey everyone, Ashi here. In this video, we're going to be going over the PvE guide, and that's going to be with Maehwa Succession. This was done a little bit differently than some of my other guides in the past. I did a community style approach this time, where I asked the community for feedback on what they recommend for doing PvE skill rotations in specific zones, what kind of gear that they used, and so we did a little bit different this time. We got the community involved, and it was good. It was really, really helpful. It actually improved my skill rotation a lot and my trash power a lot, so hopefully it will do the same for you guys. Alright, so in this section we're going to go over the PvE add-ons real quick. Here they are on the screen. In the top half you'll see that most of the add-ons are going to be more PvP focused. This is just so that I can, defend my spot and, kick someone out, whatever kind of toxic thing I want to do that day. But the bottom half will be more focused towards the PvP or PvE add-ons, which will be like Red Moon, Sticky Snowflake, and Stigma. Alright, so for consumables, some of the main ones that you want to concern yourself with when it comes to PvE. Frenzy Draughts. This is pretty much a must-have in most zones. It gives a massive amount of monster AP, 30. It gives 12 accuracy, 200 stam. The HP recovery on hit is amazing and will help you out with your sustain a lot. The all DP minus 15 does hurt, but if you have enough DP and AP, this is probably a non-issue unless you're like dealing with underwater zone. Then it's a little risky. Probably not recommend for underwater zone if you don't have the DP. If you have the DP, go for it. It just helps you out clearing faster and everything. Next one would be Giant. In the instance that your DP is a problem, Giant will probably be the better one for you because it at least lets you keep your 15 extra DP and the extra damage reduction brackets that gives you, while still giving you a lot of damage and AP and HP, and getting your crit up as well. So that's pretty solid. And then something that a lot of people probably don't know about, because I actually wasn't using it for a long time, is Spirit Perfume. This is amazing for WP sustain. So it doesn't matter where you are, low level, mid level, or high level grind zones. This perfume is literally fucking amazing. 300 HP, 5 crit rate, and MP WP SP plus 3 on every good hit. So combo this with Frenzy and you pretty much almost don't need to use pots. I was actually going 20-30 minutes in a Hystria grind without even realizing that I still had RBF pots on. So, I mean, as long as you're playing, proper skill rotation and whatnot, you're not really going to take much damage anyways. And then on top of that, you got all the sustain, so it's really, really good. Perfume of Courage is really good in places like Sakraya, where basically the underwater zone, where their damage might be a little tough. So you want to have a little bit of extra HP and AP to help you chew through them really quickly, and you're taking less hits when you kill them faster. So that might be an option for you as well. But this one's really, really, really good. Then of course the obvious stuff, which is cron meals. Don't even bother with simple cron meal unless you're trying to get combat XP and SP. Just the normal cron meal is just better, and it helps out with PvP holding your spot in the case that someone attacks you. It gives you more defensive stuff like evasion and whatnot, and as well as damage to back attacks, critical damage, and stuff like that. So it's overall better. And then of course villas, which I can't really show here, and my villa ran out, but the body enhancement villa, it doesn't matter which one you get. If you want to go for a longer grind, go with the 3-hour one. Alright, before we get into the skill rotations, we first need to go over some new mechanics with Succession. It's not really new as far as Succession is concerned, it's just with Succession only, and it's very, very important. In Succession, if you spam decap 3 times, you can enter the Red Blade state. Red Blade state means certain abilities will be changed to their Tiger Blade version, kind of, and they deal massive damage, so it's really, really, really good and important for PvE. Pretty much in almost all zones, except for maybe low tier zones. But in order to do it, you need to spam decap 3 times. And then you get the buff for 10 seconds. Now each stack you noticed was blue, yellow, red, leading up to red. The blue and yellow have a 12-second duration, before you need to do another decapitation. The red blade is only 10 seconds, even though it says on the tooltip 12. It's fucking bullshit. Um, so yeah, there's some quick ways to actually enter into red blade state with using decap. There's some random times where you're gonna get some accelerations, like it might just be like this, and it's really slow, right? And then there's other times where if I'm doing an ability first, like say D-bite or forward blind thrust, it'll like randomly speed it up if you do it decapitation in succession. So for example, I didn't do it this time at all, so that was a horrible example. Now, this is only achieved, I assume it's only achieved to get that kind of speed with successive decaps whenever you do a skill that has a attack speed add-on ability. I can't confirm this 100%, but it is the most consistent way I've seen to get it. So, like what I did is I have my D-bite with a 7% attack speed bonus from add-on, and then I did D-bite first, I hit the mob, I got the attack speed bonus, and then I used decapitation. Alternatively, what you can do is use different abilities to help weave in decapitation. So what they did with the mechanics for decapitation is they allowed certain abilities like forward blind thrust, D-bite, and blind slash to allow you to follow up with a decap. So decap kind of acts like a flow ability. It does not stun when it does these. You can use left click, right click, or F, or even left click, and it'll produce the decap after those specific abilities. So for example, thrust, F, forward blind thrust, left click, and forward blind thrust, left click, right click. They all do the same shit, so there's no difference with which one you use per se, at least not that I noticed. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that, but as far as that is concerned, you can kind of do it a little bit faster when you weave them in different successions. So for example, if I do like forward blind thrust, decap, blind slash, which will cancel decap animation, into decap, and then forward blind thrust, decap again, it would look like this. So that's not too bad. That's pretty decently fast, and then you also get some of your bonuses like forward blind thrust crit bonus. And then from there you can use all the red blade state abilities. So something to note with the red blade state abilities is the main ones you're really going to concern yourself with are D-bite, Red Moon, and maybe Carver. Most people probably won't get Carver involved, but the D-bite and Red Moon are so important. Those are our biggest massive damage abilities that we have in Red Blade mode. Carver gains a frontal guard. D-bite becomes the spammable D-bite from like Tiger Blade, and it has super armor. And then the Red Moon gains super armor, and it becomes like a mid-range damage skill, and its animation is basically cut in half. And it's really, really good. Both of these are really powerful. So let's demonstrate those real quick. Yes, I know I did the slow version right here. So this is D-bite. It does a knockback right there. We don't want that. That's garbage. That's the Red Moon, and that's really, really good. So the knockback, which is like, it does the D-bite spam, and then it kind of goes into like a quasi D-claw almost. You're going to cancel that. You're never going to want to use that. It does a knockback, and when you knock back a mob, it actually turns their face towards you, and then you won't do back attacks. So, let's demonstrate that. We'll do... back. So see how it turns his face around and faces you? Now, he got floated, but most mobs that we deal with, like in Hystria, don't get floated. So, but his face got turned towards you, and that means you're doing non-back attack damage, which means you're not getting extra damage multipliers, and that's no bueno. So make sure you cancel that. And you can cancel that with just going straight into Red Moon or any other ability for that matter. I'll do that now, so. Alright, let's get into skill rotations. Alright, so in this section of the video we're going to be going over the skill rotations for low level, mid tier, and high end zones. This is just a rough idea. But for low tier zones like Poly's Forest, Gahaz, Fogans, Nagas, the likes of those, it's pretty straightforward. You can pretty much just spam forward blind thrust and decapitation with Sticky Snowflake, and that'll pretty much clear those packs no problem. So it'd be something like this. So you could just continue doing that. And that would be the idea. You would just go through and just murder packs in that kind of fashion. So yeah, pretty straightforward. For mid-tier zones like Manshrooms, for example, you would want to use a little bit more extended combo because you probably won't just kill the packs with Decap Sticky Snowflake unless you have really, really high AP. So you have to extend a little bit more, probably even enter the Red Blade state, depending on your AP, and then blow them up with the D-Bite Red Moon. So I'll show you an example of what that looks like right now. And with that combo, like you may have noticed that I weaved in the Rabam Maehwa's Will to kind of do a vacuum before I did the D-Bite and Red Moon. That's just in case if there's mobs in there that can be vacuumed in, that you vacuum them in real close and then you D-Bite them with the Red Blade D-Bite, and it does a lot of damage, and then of course the Red Moon from there. So yeah, that's an option. You can also weave in the Blooming Step for a DP shred if you're a little low on the AP, or Carver there as well, which does its own DP shred. But just keep in mind that those tend to slow the combo down, so it's all about whether or not you want to be fast or if you need to be dealing more damage. So it's a trade-off. An alternative version to that same combo for mid-tier zones, sometimes you might actually have to weave in back attacks, which it's more ideal to weave in back attacks, so I would recommend maybe looking at doing this, but this would be an example of that. And then we get to the endgame zones. Now, I need to preface, the mid-tier zone combo can actually work in Aakman. There's a video that I will put in the description. I'm going to put a lot of videos in the description for various different locations that I've researched and found. So that combo can work versus Aakman mobs as well. Alternatively, this would be in-game mobs, so like Aakman as well, but also Hystria, Underwater Zone, and yeah, I guess that's it right now. We don't have the Ash Force yet, but yeah, this kind of combo will work with Hystria and Underwater Zone fairly well. Mind you, it's not necessarily going to be copy-paste between the two zones. You might want to weave in more defensive capabilities for our Underwater Zone, for example, whether it be add-ons or just like more defensive skills and frontal guards and whatnot. So, but it's an idea. So for like the history mobs, you'd want to group them up. This would go group them up. Usually use Sticky Snowflake. Attention, group them up. Once they're grouped up, then you can start doing the rotation that we showed previously, basically. So, and then from here, Stigma, D-Bite, Red Moon. If they're still alive, Blooming, Decap, Snowflake finish off. They're usually dead by that point after the Red Moon, depending on your AP. But yeah, that's a fairly commonly used combo that I've seen people use, and it's really, really strong. Another one would be it's a little bit slower, but it kind of does a little bit more damage, I guess, and more AoE, so it'd just be 4 Blind Thrust, Decap, Sticky Snowflake, and then the rest is all the same. Alright, so the only things I would add in places like, say, Hystria or Underwater Zone, if you don't have the AP, after you're setting up the actual starting part of the combo where you do the 4-blind thrust into decap, and then you get your red blade buff, you can go into Whirlwind Cut to apply a DP Shred if you want, or Carver, but generally these slow down combos, so just keep that in mind. It's a trade-off. More DP Shred for a slightly slower combo. If you have the AP, you honestly don't need them, but this would be an idea. And something I also need to state, because it's really, really, really important, and I'll use it on these mobs right here because it's a little bit better example, since those are dummies and this is an actual mob. This mob will fly all over the place, so it's not a true example. But the Red Blade Red Moon works best if you use it from a distance like this against a mob. So the skill that works out with helping you get to this particular position is Stigma. So that's why we use Stigma to get to their back. One, Hystria mobs get CC'd by it. At least the I don't even know how you say them. The mid-tier mobs in Hystria, they get CC'd. Not the little dudes, not the big dudes, the mid-tier dudes. They get CC'd by stiff stuns and whatnot. So Stigma works great versus them. So you get to their back, and the whole purpose of this is to make sure that you're dealing all back attack damage to them. Whether it be D-Bite or Red Moon in Red Blade mode, all that needs to be back attack in order for your combo to be super efficient. But, so for example, I'll show you why this is important. So, we're gonna say like right here, I've been spamming my Red Blade, I do Stigma to the back. Now, I backed up because the mob didn't get pushed far enough, but, that was a poor example, but, these mobs are awful to actually use for this. So there was an example where he got knocked back a little bit, and that worked out pretty good. That's about what you're gonna probably deal with. If you're having trouble getting distance, you can weave in chase before Stigma. So it'd be like this, say you just got done stacking, and then D-Bite will actually reach mobs from there, even though it doesn't look like it. D-Bite is really good range, and then you can shred them from there with the Red Moon. All back attack damage if you can, and that'll help you deal massive damage in places like Hystria. Alright, before we end the video, I just want to do another special thanks to the community for helping out with this. All the information has been invaluable. It really helped out my grind speed, and I know it'll help out everyone else's as well. Make sure you show your support for them, but also go to my Discord, and you'll go to the info section for the PvE resources and PvP resources. PvP resources is in a work in progress, but PvE resources is looking pretty good right now. We got videos from different content creators for Hystria rotations, whether it be 7 Elton or the Kalqs, as well as Star's End, which I don't think I really mentioned too much about Star's End. But there's a video on Star's End in there, as well as Polyforest. Kartuga is in there as well. Sakraya and Aakman as well. So make sure you check that stuff out. And I will see you guys next time.